Imagine a land where dusty roads wind through endless fields, stretching as far as the eye can see. In the 1970s, much of China looked like this: vast, quiet, and untouched by the modern world. Children with dreams in their eyes walked barefoot to school each morning, their laughter echoing through the countryside. Their classrooms were simple, often just a single room, but filled with hope for a better tomorrow. Families gathered around small tables, sharing humble meals by the soft glow of candlelight. Electricity was a luxury, and every meal was a reminder of both hardship and togetherness. Now, fast forward to today. Picture that same country transformed, its cities alive with the neon glow of skyscrapers, bullet trains racing across the landscape, and technology hubs buzzing with innovation. This is China's story, a breathtaking journey from rural poverty to a global superpower in just 40 years, a transformation that has stunned the world. In the late 1970s, China was among the poorest nations on Earth. Most people lived in rural villages struggling to make ends meet, with little access to modern comforts. Today, China stands tall as the world's second-largest economy, its cities home to gleaming financial districts and bustling stock exchanges. It's a place where fortunes can be made overnight, where entire cities seem to rise from the ground in the blink of an eye, and where luxury and opportunity are now part of daily life for millions. The speed and scale of this transformation are so astonishing, so dramatic, that it almost feels like something out of a dream, yet it is very real. How did this happen? How did a nation of struggling farmers and small villages become a powerhouse that shapes the destiny of the world? The answer lies in a tale of unimaginable hardship, bold reforms, and the unstoppable willpower of millions who dared to dream of a better life. It's a story of sacrifice, innovation, and relentless determination. So let's travel back in time together to witness how China's epic rise began, and to discover what this astonishing leap means for the future of not just China, but the entire world. In 1978, the vast majority of Chinese people called the countryside their home. Villages dotted the landscape, surrounded by endless fields and rolling hills. Life in these rural areas was shaped by tradition, hard work, and a constant struggle against poverty. Life was hard, and every day began before the sun rose. Farmers would wake in the darkness, their bodies aching from yesterday's labor, and head out to the muddy fields. They worked long hours, often from dawn until dusk, planting and tending crops by hand, their feet sinking into the wet earth. Their tools were simple and worn: wooden plows pulled by tired oxen, rusty buckets for carrying water, and hands roughened by years of toil. There were no modern machines to help, only the strength of their bodies, and the hope that the harvest would be enough. Food was never enough. Families grew rice, wheat, or corn, but the harvests were small, and hunger was a constant companion. Many families rationed their meals, stretching what little they had to last through the year. Children often went to bed with empty stomachs, dreaming of a full bowl of rice. Homes were built from mud and straw with thatched roofs that leaked when it rained. In winter, cold winds howled through the cracks in the walls, making it hard to stay warm. Families huddled together for warmth, sharing what little comfort they could find. Children wore patched and faded clothes, handed down from older siblings. At night, they shared thin blankets, shivering as the cold crept in. Toys were rare, and most children made their own games from sticks and stones. School was a luxury that many could not afford. Some children walked miles to reach a small classroom, while others stayed home to help their parents in the fields. Many kids dropped out early, trading their dreams for the reality of hard labor. There was little electricity in these villages. When night fell, darkness covered the land. People lit candles or oil lamps, their flickering light casting long shadows on the walls. The world outside seemed distant and unreachable. Radios were rare treasures, and news from the outside world traveled slowly, if it arrived at all. Families would gather around a single radio, listening intently to voices from far away, hoping for news of change or opportunity. Life moved at the slow, steady pace of the seasons. Planting, growing, and harvesting marked the passage of time. For many, hope for change was small, but it never disappeared completely. Yet, even in these tough times, families held on to their dreams. They wished for more food on the table, stronger homes to protect them from the elements, and a chance for their children to learn and grow. In the midst of hardship, hope quietly endured, lighting the way toward a better future. Into this world of hardship and uncertainty stepped a quiet, practical leader, Deng Xiaoping. At a time when China was struggling with poverty and rigid traditions, Deng emerged as a figure who would challenge the status quo and inspire hope for millions. He was not a flashy man. Deng preferred simplicity over show, and his humble appearance reflected his roots and his deep understanding of ordinary people's lives. Growing up in a farming family, Deng experienced firsthand the struggles of rural life. He knew what it meant to work long hours in the fields, to face hunger, and to see families barely getting by. This early hardship shaped his empathy and determination to make life better for others. But Deng was more than just a survivor. He had a sharp mind and a bold vision for the future. He believed that China could only escape poverty by changing its old ways and embracing new possibilities. He was willing to question traditions that held the country back. Deng's famous saying was, "It doesn't matter if a cat is black or white, as long as it catches mice." This simple phrase captured his practical approach to solving problems. What he meant was that results mattered more than ideology. China needed to open up, try new ideas, and focus on what actually worked, not just what sounded good in theory. He encouraged people to experiment, to learn from mistakes, and to keep moving forward. In 1978, Deng took charge of the country at a critical moment. He began to replace strict communist rules with practical reforms, allowing people more freedom to innovate and improve their lives. He listened carefully to farmers, workers, and business people. Deng believed that real change started with understanding the needs and dreams of ordinary citizens. He traveled across the country, meeting people face to face and encouraged them to share their ideas. Deng wanted China to grow, not just survive. He dreamed of a nation where children could play in thriving cities, where families could prosper, and where the country could stand tall on the world stage. Deng's courage, common sense, and willingness to take risks set the stage for one of the greatest economic miracles in history. His leadership transformed China from a struggling nation into a global powerhouse. But before any of this could happen, Deng knew he had to start with the basics. He had to fix the way China grew its food, ensuring that no one would go hungry again. Under the old system, farmers worked in large groups called communes. Everyone shared the work and the harvest. But this often led to waste and low effort. People felt their hard work didn't matter, because rewards were always the same. Deng introduced the household responsibility system. It was simple but powerful. Families could farm their own plots of land. They kept what they grew after giving a share to the government. Suddenly, hard work paid off. Farmers worked with new energy. They planted better crops, cared for their land, and found clever ways to boost harvests. Food production soared. For the first time in decades, hunger began to fade. This small change brought big results. Rural families earned more. They could buy better clothes, fix their homes, and send their children to school. The seeds of hope were planted. Deng knew that farming alone could not make China rich. He wanted to bring in foreign money, technology, and ideas. So he created special economic zones, places where rules were different and business was encouraged. The first SEZ was in a sleepy fishing village called Shenzhen, near Hong Kong. At that time, Shenzhen had just a few thousand people and dirt roads, but Deng believed it could become a model for the whole country. In Shenzhen, companies could set their own prices, hire workers freely, and trade with the world. Foreign investors rushed in. Factories, offices, and apartment blocks sprang up almost overnight. Shenzhen's success was explosive. In just a few years, it grew into a bustling city of millions. Its story inspired other cities to open up and transform. The age of China's economic boom had begun. As factories multiplied, they needed workers, millions of them. Young people left their villages in waves, traveling by train, bus, and even bicycle to the booming cities. This was the largest migration in human history. Life in the city was tough at first. Migrant workers lived in crowded dorms and sent most of their money home. They worked long shifts on assembly lines, sewing clothes, building electronics, and making toys for the world. But cities offered hope. Wages were higher, and new opportunities appeared. Some workers saved enough to start small businesses. Others learned new skills and moved up the ladder. This river of people built the factories, roads, and skyscrapers of modern China. Their sweat and dreams powered the nation's rise. In 2001, China joined the World Trade Organization. This was a game changer. It meant China could sell its goods to almost every country on Earth. Foreign companies rushed to build factories in China, drawn by cheap labor and a huge market. China became the world's factory. It made everything: clothes, toys, phones, computers, and cars. Ships loaded with Chinese products sailed to every corner of the globe. Prices fell, and shoppers everywhere benefited. Cities grew richer. New highways, airports, and ports appeared. Millions of Chinese workers joined the global economy. Their hard work lifted hundreds of millions out of poverty. But, success brought new challenges. Pollution, inequality, and pressure to move up the value chain became urgent issues. As wages rose, China could not rely on cheap labor forever. The country set its sights higher. It wanted to move from copying to creating, from assembly lines to innovation. The government invested billions in science, technology, and education. Cities like Shenzhen became hubs for startups, robots, and green energy. Chinese companies started making world-class phones, high-speed trains, and electric cars. Brands like Huawei and BYD became global names. A new generation of Chinese dreamers emerged. They wanted more than just jobs. They wanted to invent, to lead, and to change the world. With its economy booming, China looked outward. In 2013, it launched the Belt and Road Initiative, a plan to build roads, railways, and ports across Asia, Africa, and Europe. The goal was to connect countries, boost trade, and spread prosperity. China poured money into building bridges, tunnels, and power plants in dozens of nations. Some called it a new Silk Road. Others worried it was a way for China to gain influence and control. Critics said the Belt and Road Initiative left poor countries with heavy debts. Supporters argued it brought jobs and growth. The debate rages on, but one thing is clear: China is now a global player, shaping the world far beyond its borders. The Belt and Road Initiative shows China's ambition, and the questions it raises for the future. Today, China stands shoulder to shoulder with the United States. The two countries compete in trade, technology, and security. They race to build the fastest computers, launch the best satellites, and lead in green energy. Tensions rise over tariffs, spying, and the South China Sea. Both sides want to protect their interests and shape the future. Sometimes they cooperate, but often they clash. This rivalry shapes global politics and the lives of billions. The world watches, wondering who will lead in the years to come. China's rise is one of the greatest stories of our time. From muddy villages to megacities, from hunger to hope, from isolation to global power. The journey is epic, but the final chapter is not yet written. Will China keep growing, or will new challenges slow it down? Can it become a true leader in innovation, or will old problems return? Will it find peace with its rivals, or will competition turn dangerous? The world holds its breath. China's next move could shape the century. What will the future bring? Only time will tell.